I wanted to kind of analyze this because I think it's really interesting. There's a lady who wrote a book. Her name is Dr. Helen Smith. Helen Smith is a married psychologist who she wrote. I don't know if the book is called this, but I think her book is called Men on Strike. And her argument has been that men don't get married because men can't see the benefits of marriage. Right now, I'm going to read this quote to you, and then I want you to give me a yes or no to tell me if you agree with the quote, and then I'll break it down a little bit based on my own observations, my own research, also why I actually took action in my life that actually contradicts what's being said here, right? So she says, one of the reasons men don't marry is because she feels there's nothing in it for them. Now it's interesting though, she's married, she does have a husband, so I'd be curious to know why her husband, is in a different category, right? So clearly that's right there is an inherent contradiction. But she says, what exactly does marriage offer men today? Men know there's a good chance they'll lose their friends, their respect, their space, their sex life, their money, and if all goes wrong, their family. They don't want to enter into a legal contract with someone who could effectively take half their savings, pension, and property when the honeymoon period is over. Men aren't wimping out by staying unmarried or being commitment phobes. They're being smart. Now, let me ask you guys this. Yes or no? Give me a yes or no. I'm going to give you guys a second to answer this question. Yes or no? Do you agree with what Dr. Smith just said? Yes or no? Larry Hurt says she's right. Let's see here. Give me a yes or no. Todd says equally yoked. Okay. So we got to be like both scrambled eggs or something. We got to be equally yoked. All right. I never knew what the word yolk means. I always think about eggs. It makes me laugh when I hear people say yoked. Let's see. Ade says yes. Mojo says yes. I see Inspire Me says no. Amari says no. Cat Rock says no. Ladarius says yes. Zen X says never. Michael Benoit says facts. Too Rich to Miss says hell yes. Kelvin Wright says yes. Okay. So you get a mixed response. That's kind of what I expected, right? And if you want to actually comment, there's a pretty heavy conversation about this on my Instagram page. It's still actually going on. I'm looking, people are still, arguing about it and going back and forth about it. Feel free. My Instagram is the real Boyce Watkins. So, again, I guess everybody else uses their Instagram to post like stupid selfies or just sit there and look in the camera and play with their hair or to show pictures of their dog or something. Like I actually put stuff up there that is designed to help us think and help us teach and help us learn and grow. And then sometimes I just like to laugh. Like, so sometimes I'll post a corny joke up there and, that's because I'm just a corny person. All right. So here's what's interesting. All right. So let me kind of break some of this down and just give you a perspective. I'm not going to tell you this is the right approach. I'm just going to tell you that this is a perspective. And also, if you want to share a perspective, the phone number to call in and leave a message. And I do voice your opinion on drboycetv.com, where I actually go through some of your messages and respond to them right then. So feel free to call 773-302-0414. That's 773-302-0414. All right. So let's see here. She says that men know there's a good chance they'll lose their friends, their respect, their space, their sex life, and their money. Okay. So losing your friends. I can say, that part I don't quite understand. I don't think you lose all your friends if you get married. That part I don't get. I do think that there is an understanding that when you're in a committed relationship, you've got this other expectation. You've got these other people, this family, this person in this family that's going to then be accountable or hold you accountable for where you are and what you're doing, right? Like like I will say this, I spent years as a single man. Now I wasn't out getting freaky and doing stupid stuff. I wasn't trying to get into bed with every pretty girl I saw, but I always knew that if I liked her, I could get into bed with her and it wouldn't be a big deal. Or if I didn't want to get in bed with her, I just wanted to call her or I wanted to go take a trip. You could just do that, right? And the trade-off is when you're in a relationship, you can't do that anymore, right? Like now, when I go on a trip, I have to tell Alicia I'm going on a trip. We have to talk about it, right? And so I was kind of like, why we gotta talk about it? Like I travel. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins. You can't do that, right? I gotta be like, okay, in 2 weeks, I'm going to Dallas, and it's going to be on the 3rd, and I'm going to order my plane ticket tonight. And like you got to do it, right? It's hard. It's an adjustment. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sharing this right to give an honest point of view on this. Maybe some of you who are younger than me can maybe learn something from this, but also those like ladies as well who are confused. I think maybe this can help you kind of understand the thought process, right? So I love this woman; she's awesome. But it was an adjustment to kind of be like, Oh, that's right. You know, well, Boyce, why didn't you tell me you were taking a trip? Oh, because I just don't tell anybody typically, right? So there is kind of a trade in terms of I believe that men who, especially men who are like aggressive, you know, and ambitious, who are always on the move, like that's kind of what I am. I've always been very ambitious since I was 18 years old. In college, I studied harder than everybody else. In grad school, I went to school longer than anybody else. I wanted to go higher and further than everybody else. I wanted to grind harder than everybody else. I've always been like that. So when you have an ambitious man, like ambitious men are not afraid of the world. Like I never grew up saying, "Gosh, I'm so scared out here. I really need a companion." Most of the time, when I had partners or in business or in life, I would be outrunning them. I'd be like, "Come on, catch up! Like we gotta go make this happen, right?" And so, you know, to transition out of that, it means you have to find somebody that can somehow understand and connect with the speed of life that you committed to, right? Somebody who kind of gets it, you know. So I'll give you an example. I met this gorgeous woman. Actually, she happened to live in Chicago. Very pretty, I mean, gorgeous woman. And at that time, I was the Dr. Boyce Watkins. I was kind of well known, and she and it was the benefit of that. The downside of that is you run into like groupies and people that want to use you and all that. I like to think I'm smarter than that. I don't get caught up in too much of that. But you know, the good side is that you know usually you meet women that have selected themselves. In statistics, they call that self-selection, where they have selected themselves because they've already been checking you out. They already think like you. They've already read your book. They already kind of think in the same wavelength. So you don't have to figure out if you're similar. They just are similar, right? So you meet. So I met a lot. You know, like a few really pretty, really smart, amazing women. You know, but this was one that I picked. I said, you know, I think I'll date her. But here was what was fascinating, right? So I would be, you know, I had this life, right, of a busy man, you know, and I would get these phone calls at, you know, 8 o'clock at night or whatever, or we'd be sitting there watching. She liked to watch these reality shows. We'd be watching like Basketball Wives or something. And I hate shows like that, right? But I'm like, okay, I want to do what I'm supposed to do. I want to be a good boy in this relationship, so I'm going to watch this stupid ass show. And I'd have my laptop open and I just kind of do work during the commercial breaks. Or every now and then, if a phone call came in, I'd have to take the call. And I remember she did not like that. She did not like the fact that my work seemed to spill over into everything I did. And I was like, well, you know, because the thing is, you know, I this is who I am. Like, this is not my job. This is my life. This is me. Like I'm me all the time, right? You know, and so, you know, people that live in their purpose, it's like, it's not even an outfit that you put on and take off. It's like in your skin. Like I'm always brown, even when I take a shower, even when I'm butt naked, whether I put on clothes or I'm nude, I'm always brown. I've always got brown skin. So when you live in your purpose and you're like, say, an entrepreneur and you're always thinking about ways to do things better, it can be a conflict. Like if you're trying to merge with somebody who has a 9-to-5 mindset, who thinks that work is something that you shut off at 5 o'clock. And then you go home and you sit around and watch TV all night. And so for those of you who are entrepreneurs, I think you want to look for somebody who either is similar or who just gets it, right? Like if somebody just really gets it, then that goes a long way. Like, so I'll tell you, one of the things that Alicia said to me a long time ago, we were friends over 20 years before we got together. I couldn't have married her years ago. I had people on the internet saying that this trifling Negro waited 26 years to marry her. No, I did not wait 26 years to marry her. I was her friend for about 23 of those 26 years. But during that time, I remember she said something. She knew me really well. And I remember her saying something to me like, she said, Boyce, any woman who marries you is going to have to really just love you and accept you for who you are. Like, that's it. She's gonna have to love you because you ain't changing for nobody. And I remember thinking, damn, like I wish everybody understood that. And I'm like, damn, the woman who does understand it, she's with somebody else, man. Shit. So you know, I think that in general, I really believe, like, I think Oprah actually said everybody is looking to be understood. And I think that listening to someone and trying to just get them without judging them and always telling them they need to change and be different, I think that goes a long way in getting somebody to trust you, because they then trust that, like, okay, you know, I'm going to have some expectations in this relationship, because sometimes women don't want to lose their freedom either in many cases, right? You know, I may have some expectations in this relationship, but it's a good trade-off because you see who I am, and you're more likely to see the good in me as opposed to seeing me as some sort of construction project that I need to fix. I think a good way to really frustrate yourself and to be incredibly miserable is to find somebody who's a fixer-upper and to be spending all your time trying to fix them, changing everything, changing how they dress, changing how they talk, changing what they do, changing how hard they work, changing what, nobody likes that shit. Like, they're going to be annoyed with you. You're going to be annoyed with them. It ain't worth it. It's probably not going to be a good deal, in my opinion. Unless